Welcome to the world famous Buckeye show, hosted by your boys Cleveland, Mike, and Terry. How y'all doing, man? Terry, how are you doing?
Brother, I'm doing great, bro. It's been a good day, man. I can't complain, man. You know what I'm saying? My wife took my son to a meeting with her. They're going to the gym afterwards. So should be good to get a nice show in here. And then right when we're done, they should be coming home, man. So that's gonna be sweet. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's the best, man. My kids, they've been up hanging out with their friends all day. So they're actually taking a little power nap. So it was like
Ooh.
it just happened like right before the show. So
It's a
it was
late power
like,
nap, Mike. You about to have
yeah.
kids up all night.
Nah, they know how. Hey, they will be woken up soon as I'm done with the show.
All right.
Yeah, but you know, ours it's 6:30 here, so even though the
I
show
forgot.
started,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bro,
So,
my son took a nap yesterday, bro. He
uh-huh.
don't usually take naps, and then he would not go to sleep. This is my special needs son, so obviously a little bit different. You know, I can't just tell him to go to sleep, but he took a nap yesterday, bro. Then would not go to sleep. He was up till like 1 o'clock in the morning last night, just chilling, bro. Just no, he wasn't being bad, just chilling.
Yeah,
I'm like, all right, man, you gotta go to sleep, bro.
yeah.
But
So like that's what we'll do. We'll let them go, like just chill in your room. Tell Alexa to play a story. My son, he listens to the Cars Audible stories while he's about trying to go to sleep, and then my daughter, it's always princess stories or whatever. So yeah, but we got a jam-packed show to get into, man, today. You know, we're going to always start off with our segment, what's going on around college football. We're going to talk Ohio State, what's going on with Ohio State. And we got a special segment for our Buckeyes versus the rest segment today. We're going to talk about Matt Patricia versus Jim Knowles, man, and how the scheme is going to look, how the philosophy is, and how are they recruiting? What's the differences? And we can only really go off of what we know of Jim Knowles right now, what's going on right now. The season hasn't started. This is all we can talk about right now. So, without further ado, let's get into the show.
The world famous Ohio State Buckeyes.
we might be in a situation where we have a superstar coach on our hands, kind of like how we did with Brian Hartline.
So right from the jump, make sure they understand they're playing somebody different tonight. They're playing the Buckeyes. They're playing the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Being the Buckeye, there's nothing better, bro. Welcome back, man. So let's just go ahead and get into it, man. Scott Frost says some crazy comments, and this is not the type of comments that you would think hearing a former player speak about their alma mater. Now, I wouldn't be shocked of a former coach saying this about their previous job, but someone who saw this as their alma mater, Scott Frost basically saying he felt pulled to go and try to save his alma mater, and is not really where his heart was.
Yeah. Hey,
how do you feel about that, Terry?
That quote is crazy, bro, but I love it. Like, that's Scott Frost kind of like standing on business. He's like, look, bro, I'm not a bad coach. I just got drawn into this situation. I was trying to be the nice guy. I really didn't want to do it, but I was trying to be the nice guy and go save my alma mater, whatever, if I said it wrong. But he's like, I didn't even really want to go there. That's not a good job. And now you're about to see what I am as a coach going forward. I kind of like it, bro. Like, I don't know. I think I like it when coaches stand on business. And he's telling the truth, bro. Like, Nebraska is not a good football job. Not anymore. Like, back in the day it was, but like Matt Rule's a good football coach too, bro. They're still looking the same out there.
Yeah, I mean, and that is the biggest thing. Like, you will get hired, offered these jobs, but you also got to look at, you can't just, here's the thing, especially a lot of football fans, they want to look at the tradition of their program, of their school, and all of that. And if you want to, you can keep doing that. It's just not the time that we are living in now. And when you're talking about recruiting guys, since they were maybe 15 years old, 16, 17, and then you get them on campus when they're 18. When you're dealing with that, you have to deal with some guys like right now. You know, you can't sit here and be like, hey, we're going to build this up and we're going to build it up off of you. Even come to Lincoln, Nebraska, man. There's not really anything out here.
Yep.
We're the corn huskers. You're going to see nothing but cornfields. I mean, I'm probably being way too over dramatic, but some of these guys is like, if I'm going to go to Nebraska, how is the atmosphere going to be? You can talk about the game day atmosphere, but that's for the fans. What about outside of football, outside of sports, these guys and things like that? So I understand where Scott Frost is coming from. And to be honest, we didn't hear about him having issues with the whole drinking, being late to work, things like that. That's not what got him the job at Nebraska. But someone who's not happy with their job and all of that stuff, I can see that. And that's why you had the issues that you had with Scott Frost.
Yep. No, I agree. I don't know. Like I said, man, I like it when coaches stand on business, man. That feels like that's what that is to me. He's like, y'all can judge me, based off that if you want to, but I ain't really want to go there. I was just trying to be the nice guy. I'm back where I'm supposed to be now. Is he the head coach at UCF now? Or is he?
I believe so. Yep.
I didn't know if he went back there to be like the OC or the head coach. Hey man, we gotta watch UCF, man. They're a Power 4 conference team now, right? They're in the Big 12, if I'm not mistaken. So
I guess
they can mess around and make a playoff or something, man. If he's about it.
Hey, we'll see. I'm very eager to see what he will be doing with this program, and like I said, we'll see if he starts cooking back at UCF, and that's the thing. I think UCF, you can recruit there. You're talking about a recruiting hotbed where you got in-state talent.
They got money.
You definitely got money. UCF is willing to spend it, and sure. Their student base is big as well, so you don't have to go, and it's just a lot more benefits, man. And also, if you're getting a 3-star out of Florida or whatever, they're probably a good get still. So, you
got to develop them. Usually you're going to look at someone who's probably a good athlete, but probably not fully developed. You just got to do that. And to be fair, like he was successful there before, bro. Like back when he could go undefeated and not go to a national championship, like they go undefeated now, bro, or even have a 1-2 loss season. They're going to be in the playoffs. Here's your chance, man. Come on. Let's see what you got. Like you want to claim national championship before, now you got to earn it.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Definitely got to earn it. Definitely got to earn it, man. But enough of Scott Frost, man. We got to talk about what's going on with this NIL and the house deal. I'm hearing basically from what we are seeing from Ross Dillinger, and what he had posted was of more than 1,200 deals submitted to the clearinghouse, about 1/3 were approved, several remain under review, and 80 were denied and can be resubmitted. No deals have advanced past the second denial and into the arbitration appeals process, Jeff Kessler tells Ohio Sports. So, Terry, me and you was talking about this off air, and basically what we were talking about, and my biggest issue is it's two different things. Because it's like, I understand where Ohio State is going from this, because all of these coaches asked, all of the coaches, you heard them at media days for years, asking for some regulations, some guardrails, all of this. And so Ohio State is being that man of their word and standing on business and like, hey, they put out something, we're going to follow this, right? You're talking about
Yeah.
even the SMUs of the world that's spending money, the Texas Techs of the world that's spending money. They were asking for guardrails as well,
They were.
right? All of
Absolutely.
these schools were, right? Now you got some guardrails, and you like, screw it. We crashing into the guardrails like there's nothing there. You know, like a lot of these guys just not standing on their word, not standing on business, or it could have just been a front the whole time. But I also see that these rules aren't even truly set in place with a committee pick, as you were speaking on.
That's what we were talking about. There's no committee. Like they're talking about they'll hire people when they get to that point, or they're still trying to put it together on who's going to be the committee, which just it's kind of getting into the weeds a little bit, but like that committee will be used if a NIL deal gets denied, and then they can resubmit it. If it gets denied again, then it has to go through that committee to ultimately decide whether it's denied or whether it is like it can actually be approved. But I don't even know if anything will get to that point. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they might just deny it, and then schools will just be like, all right, well, we can't do that, and then they'll just find a different workaround.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what the schools are doing. We're still hearing that the schools are using outside collectives. Ohio State, just comparing this to Ohio State. Ohio State went ahead and brought their collective in-house, trying to follow these rules. And here's the thing, like I've tried to tell people, because I know people are upset and stuff, is I don't believe that this is going to hinder Ohio State right now, this year, right? I think what people need to understand is just like before, when Ohio State wasn't spending the money and we was hearing the recruits wanted to commit here, it was just like, bruh, y'all can't even come close. Like we knew we were having issues. We were having issues. We were talking about it in spaces with Brian Schottenstein, but then what happened? Ohio State's words, what they told us is we're going to try to play the right way. And then if it's just the Wild Wild West, then we'll end up joining it. And that's exactly what we did, and we won a national championship. And I'm thinking I just want to go ahead and say, let's trust the process with Ohio State. And I think when it's time for us to do what we got to do, we're going to take care of business.
I agree with that. And people complained about it the whole year too. $20 million roster, blah, 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 blah. People complained about it because Ohio State did it the right way. So I don't know. I mean, with this NIL stuff, Mike, it is interesting. Like that tweet from Ross Dillinger you had up there a minute ago. I honestly, all those NIL deals got denied, but that really doesn't tell me anything, because that was the very first like batch of NIL deals. Like they could have had 80 NIL deals denied because somebody typed it up wrong.
Right.
Wrong verb, but you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't specify in that or in the article what they were denied for. So I'm interested to see if like those deals get resubmitted and then really none of the other deals are denied, because basically all that says is like most of them are still in like the process, the reviewing them. So I don't know. It's interesting, but it seems like some schools feel like what the NCAA or what this, like the clearinghouse, what they're trying to do is either not going to hold up, or they're going to be like super lax with it and just be like, okay, well, if this company says like, hey, that they'll pay this person $3,000, then we're just going to roll with that. Because and that could be the case. You know what I mean? Like all of these NILs could just be funneled through some company that's associated with the school, and then they could just allow the kids to make whatever they can make, because it seems like it's going to be hard for them to tell the kids no. You know what I mean? Like, how can you tell a kid like that, for example, DSW is associated with Ohio State a lot because of Schottenstein. Yeah. Like Schottenstein, a lot of the guys on Ohio State have DSW deals. How can they tell them like, nah, you're not allowed to make that money and make that commercial for them, or take that photo shoot for them and earn this $2 million? How can they do that? They can't be like, oh, well, the market dictates that you're not worth that. But the market is also dictated by schools like Texas Tech paying Felix Ojo a bunch of money to come there. So what is the market? Is the market that, or is the market what Ohio State and Georgia pay for an offensive tackle to come there. You know what I mean? There is no market. It just I think I said on the show last week, the market doesn't exist in college football.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what we're hearing. And that is the biggest issue, Terry, that what's going on right now. It's just a simple fact of you say that our stuff has to go through this clearinghouse. But the clearinghouse has no regulations on what's supposed to be in here,
None.
what's not supposed to be in here,
Yep.
how things are supposed to look. It's just there, and there's no rules. And then again, if you're one of the people that's sitting here saying, "Oh, we're not sure it's going to hold up," I'm not sure how it's going to hold up when you have multiple schools just sitting here saying, "Screw the rules." It's still going to be the Wild Wild West. And then you got legislation like up in the state of North. They're sitting there trying to get legislation where this house deal won't even mean anything. They want it to still be the Wild Wild West. So, I mean, it's very, very, very hilarious to me. That's all I'm gonna say.
And another thing that factors into this too, Mike, is you just have to really think about like what rosters people have right now. Like I know that people can bring guys in through the transfer portal, and that's like going to be an important part of using your NIL money. But like some of these teams, bro, if you're looking at your roster and you're like, bro, we got nobody on our roster that we're gonna have to pay $1 million to in the next 3 years. Like there's none of these kids are like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we got good players. They're, we want them to be here, but like we're not about to have to pay these kids $1 million to stay here in the next 3 years. We can start paying some of these recruits, or at least promising them this money, with the caveat that if they don't perform or if they come here and they don't follow like whatever's in this contract, they don't follow it, then we can go ahead and renegotiate the contract at that point and pay you what you're actually worth based on what you're doing. But once they get the kids there, that's kind of like half the win right there. You know what I mean? Because I mean, if you get the kid on campus and they start building even stronger relationships with the coaches and whatnot, getting developed and getting better, all that good stuff. I don't know. It's almost smart to like promise the kids money, but some teams really have to be careful with that because you have players on your roster. Like, just I'm giving one example from Ohio State, but Ohio State looking at like defensive tackle, right? They got Edric Houston that they know that they're about to have to drop a bag on probably next year because he's about to come out this year and be really good. And then next year he's going to be a junior. He's in his last year before he goes to the NFL. They're going to have to drop a bag on him. When they're probably looking at that position group, like, okay, we have this much money we're going to spend on this position group. And this year, we know a lot of it's going to go to him. So we can't offer some freshman a lot just to come in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just the NIL stuff's crazy, but it's like, sorry, I know I'm like running off with this a little bit, but it's just schools are all doing different things. And I do think that the way it's set up right now, I think that in the long run, it'll bring all these schools closer together and you'll start seeing like, I guess almost a market. I know I'm saying it doesn't exist, but like once the rosters start to balance out where one school doesn't have 5 stars sitting on the bench, and so on and so forth, I do think that once that does happen, you good? You good, bro? All right. I just think once that does happen, I think it'll really make it to where you won't see these huge NIL deals anymore, and it'll be more of like a market-based type thing. Man, but it's going to take a while.
What's good, Garrison? What's good, man? I agree with you, Terry. If you want to join our memberships, man, memberships start at $2.99 with the Block O Club. JT wasn't short for $4.99, and we don't give a damn for $9.99. Join our memberships for exclusive videos, content that will be coming out for members only. So make sure that you check that out, man. So speaking of NIL and what's been going on with the Buckeyes, man, our guy Juck, man, he dropped a bombshell on Buckeye Nation, basically breaking down Larry Johnson by the numbers, the past from 2021 to 2023 and 2024 to 2026, what his player average has been. I don't know if you all have seen it, but if you have not, make sure that you go check it out. Juck's one of my guys, man. Definitely support him. And he comes on this channel and does the Buckeye Brigade with us, man, with myself and Garrison. So make sure that you check that out. But he posted that a graphic in 2021 through 2023, Ohio State or Larry Johnson's D-line average, player average, was 54. Anybody in the chat, can you take a guess what it is now? I see we got people in here. Let me know. What do you believe that average is now before we get to speaking on that, man? And so, I mean, obviously it is a decline. So, Terry, let's talk about the decline before we talk about the number, man. Why do you believe that there is a decline like there is?
Man, let me ask you a question before we go into this, Mike. Is this like average recruit ranking?
Yeah, off of based off of 24/7's composite ranking.
Okay, all right, I see. So I mean, honestly, bro, it kind of just feels like it's a lot of things all added into it. You know, me and you have already talked about the proof of concept. We already talked about it. It's something that we always run with, and I think that it is a big deal. Like the fact that Larry Johnson's defensive line unit has been so like bland over the last couple years. There's been no superstar. It's just been like good players, and they're not being asked to like do twists and stunts and get free sacks and make big time plays. They're literally just out there like doing their job. I just don't think that it sounds sexy to play D-line at Ohio State, bro. Like, and some of that is because there's a 74-year-old or whatever, however old he is, defensive line coach that literally says, like, I want everybody to be like Chase Young, the big, strong defensive end. And then kids are watching Chase Young in the league right now. Chase Young is like, he hasn't ever been the same as he was at Ohio State. You know what I mean? So, like, they're watching Chase Young and they're like, I'm not trying to be that. I'm not trying to be like, look like I'm a little overweight and a little one step too slow, but I'm still a good player. Like, and I mean, I don't know. Like, we put it in Groke the other day, and Groke even said that Larry Johnson's pitch should be Chase Young and Nick Bosa, guys like that. So I don't know, man. I just think a lot has to change, right? It's not just going to change overnight.
Yeah. So nobody put what they think the number is in the chat, but from 2024 to 2026, the defensive line player average is 341. And I'll say this because, Terry, you remember me last year before the season, right? And what I say about Justin Fry when Justin Fry was getting all the hate. I said I'm not about to hate because my thing was the same thing we're talking about with Larry Johnson, was proof of concept. I said he came from Justin Fry came from UCLA. He doesn't really have any big names or real names from a big school under his name. He's going to have to get that from Ohio State. And once he shows or whatever, then he can start possibly landing those big recruits. And to be honest, all our new O-line coach had to do was just try to keep the ball rolling because right after the national championship, we were in the league for some top O-linemen who was liking Justin Fry all of a sudden, which I said that proof of concept or whatever, it worked. And it was one of our best, not defensive, but offensive line performances from a depth standpoint.
Yeah, I agree. Mike, honestly, bro, you were on top of it. Like, that's proof of concept right there. Ohio State had to do it. There were so many questions, and a lot of it came from the inability to run the ball, right? There were so many questions with Ohio State's O-line while Justin Fry was here. As soon as they got proof of concept, you started seeing Ohio State's name in with those recruits that you're talking about. As soon as that O-line started dominating games.
So that's what I'm saying. If Larry Johnson's, because this is the 2024, 2026 or whatever, right? If Larry Johnson D-line goes off this year, how do you think that 2027 class looks? if
It would be
Larry,
crazy, man. I really
if
do.
Larry Johnson's D line goes off
I
in
swear.
2027, I mean in the 2027 class, how you think that 28 class gonna look?
It's gonna look crazy. That's what I'm saying.
That's my thing. And also, why not allow it to set up if there is a transition period, right?
Right. Also,
For
yeah, I would say I
somebody
don't think that Larry Johnson will be here that long. He's probably done after this year, but honestly, everybody's been saying that about him for so long now that I don't even know.
I'm
Maybe he'll
not.
just be the Ohio State D-line coach till he's 90 and we'll rock with it. I don't know.
My thing is I'm not trying to force Larry out.
No.
My whole thing is I've always wanted Larry to be an analyst so he didn't have to worry about recruiting. And we let a younger guy deal with that, be on the phone with the kids all the way up till 3:00 and all of that crap, bro.
So exactly what we did with the offensive line room. We do the same thing with Larry, except Larry, instead of being the guy who takes over the O-line room like how Bowen is, he's one of the guy who we hired from Purdue. And then I forget where we hired the other guy from, Oklahoma State. Yeah. So we got 3 offensive line coaches, one who's a young dynamic recruiter, Bowen, who relates to the kids. So I don't know. Hey, listen, if we're doing that
2 and 2, we should have did. I understand why we got the 3 O-line coaches, but we should have did 2 and 2. 2 O-line coaches, 2 D-line coaches. And to be honest, that would have been the elevation that we would have needed just to bring Alan Clark in and then let him do all the damn recruiting.
So here's the problem with that, though. You would have to move Larry to an analyst role because you're not going to have 2 actual D-line coaches. I mean, I guess Texas maybe does. Do they have an edge coach?
You have an edge coach and an interior coach.
Yeah, but who would have got off the staff, though, at that point?
What I'm saying is,
you would have, you know what I mean? There's no spot. And Texas
what I'm saying is the 2 that we brought in, regardless, they're analysts. They're analysts. There's only one. One of them is only on staff. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Regardless, I mean, there's no numbers on it anyways. We still probably could have brought in a new D-line coach. I don't know. I don't know. We gotta do something to help Larry out, man.
You know, listen. In my opinion, what Ohio State needs to do, bro, is after this year, Ryan Day is just, especially if it doesn't get better. Like, there's always a chance that all this conversation goes away if it gets better. If let's say that late in the cycle, Ohio State flips a couple guys, it can happen. Flips a couple, really high rated, high on the board guys. Then this goes away. People can't say nothing to Larry because his D line just dominated the playoffs to win the Natty, and he got at least one. Like, we need at least one elite recruit on the D line every year, whether it's interior or out or edge. Excuse me, I was about to say outerior. Dude, what the hell am I talking about? Anyway, whether it's interior on the edge, you need to get at least one guy that you expect to come in and be like a bona fide, like, this guy is going to be a real player. And I'm not saying he hasn't got that in the last 2 classes, but we don't have that in this class. Unless you want to say that about Wilder, but like, nobody thought that before he went to camp. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe he'll turn into that with his senior year. He balls out his senior year, and that would be sweet. But I just think every class you got to have one of those,
Yep. My wife in the comments talking about my daughter want to see the water challenge. Not happening.
Do it, Mike.
Not happening again.
Don't be scared. Come on, man.
But man, that's enough about LJ, man. Let's get into something that's funny to me. JJ got grown men out here crying.
Oh, this is hilarious.
JJ got grown men out here crying, like
bro, multiple days in a row, bro. Every time he posts something, they're crying, man.
I mean,
JJ might be the new LeBron. He might be the new LeBron because LeBron got criticized for everything he did through his whole career, off the court or on the court. And now JJ stepping into this spotlight. Everybody, I've heard people say he's like an MJ of football. Nope, this is another case of LeBron. This is what this is.
I mean, that's what Marv said. Marv said he's the LeBron in football.
It is. It's gonna be.
That's what Marv said. And here's my thing, man. People are upset about the whole 100 emoji above the video of the guy talking about MJ and Kobe and all of that stuff. And I guess was saying LeBron had, I mean, to be honest, some of that video, like the criticism is warranted or whatever. But what is wrong with him? Like, we really crashing out over a 100 emoji? If that's how he feel, that's how he feel.
Mike, can we just be really honest right now? Like, and I feel like I've watched shows and stuff, people talking about this, and nobody will just be honest. Bro, he did not see the LeBron part on that tweet, bro. He's not quote tweeting that saying 100 hating on someone who is a Ohio legend, bro. He's not going to do that.
Exactly.
He literally said that. There's like another thing came out, was like a screenshot of him replying to somebody saying he wasn't replying to that. Obviously, JJ is literally known for having that mentality. We were just talking about it. People said he's the LeBron or the Michael Jordan of football. He's known for having that mentality. He didn't see that shit, bro. Come on. He was reading it. And when I read the post too, and I first seen that he retweeted it, I didn't read the rest of it either, because I literally had to click read more to read the bottom part that said LeBron was whack or whatever. He did not see that, bro. Now, he does need to be careful. Obviously, like, you're on social media. People are going to turn everything into nothing. But he didn't see that, bro. People just got to be real with themselves. Come on.
Man, people just want to hate. That's all that is, man. That ain't nothing but hate. And as Cat Williams has said, man, you know, if you don't got no haters, you ain't doing nothing right. So when you got haters, you're doing something right. You got even Miami fans was going out on one on Twitter, another one on TikTok or whatever. JJ responded back to both of them. One telling one to get a life, another one saying, bro, I wasn't even speaking on that part. I mean, and then the guy responds and doubles down. And here's the thing. He had more comments than he had likes. And everybody in the comments was roasting dude. Like, grown men, leave these kids alone, bro. I mean, I know they're like 18 now. I seen somebody was saying, oh, he's 17 and a millionaire now. He ain't no kid.
I mean, it's true. There's truth to that. There's truth to that. He's not a kid. He's a millionaire. But I will say this, Mike.
They still Miami kids fans, in minds, bro.
They are kids, bro. But I mean,
just because they legally say, "Oh, you're an adult at 18, bro," you're not even fully developed. You're not matured.
No,
to where you need to be or anything. So to me, they're still kids.
But you're in a position where you need to be a little more mature. Right? Because a lot of kids that are not mature, you give them that kind of money and they'll do something really stupid. That's all I was saying. Yeah. But I wanted to comment on what you was just talking about though. The Miami fan. Yeah. That's like really sad, bro. That was a sad comment, especially because it literally came from the hate that Jeremiah didn't go to Miami. That's what's so stupid about it. It's like, okay, you're literally just being blind and now you're trash talking this kid. And there's really not any wide receiver in the last 10 years would it be a smarter choice to go to Miami than Ohio State? Like, what are we talking about here, bro? Ohio State's really pumping out first-round wide receivers.
Yeah.
And Miami's like, have they even put out a first round or
they best wide receiver? They best wide receiver last year when they drafted.
Yeah, because he ran like a 4.9 or something. Or a 5.0 or something.
Bruh.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I mean, that's just my thing. And here, I'll tell you why these guys are just casuals, why they're not true fans, and why they're just haters, right? Because they literally compared something from college to the pros. They compared someone who went to multiple different teams to college, where they just been at one college, and they about to play 2 seasons at one college. It's not like they said, hey, all 3 of my college years, I'm going to jump from team to team to team. That's not what they did, bro. So I don't understand it. There wasn't a lot of logic in there, man. But it's just, hey, JJ, you're doing something right because you got the haters. So just know it comes with you doing something right, man.
It does.
So we got to talk about Buckeyes recruiting. We have gotten official commitment from Jameer Perez since the last time we talked. And he spoke with Berm and said that, you know, he kind of blamed himself for committing early. But But here's my thing. I do feel in that interview when he spoke about, how big he was in the schools that you're seeing those body types at, he's right. You are seeing those body types at the Georgias, at the Alabamas, at the Floridas. He's seeing this. So I understand why he said he could have seen, or he saw himself going to the SEC, or had that. Now you have an SEC team showing you all of this love, telling you we want you. This is a committable offer, and then boom, you go ahead, you commit on the spot. So I mean, hey, I'm not mad at the kid. He did say that him and Sincere talked about playing together if they got the same college. So that played a part in it. So shout out Sincere. Also, we've heard some things, Ryan Day and Ted Ginn Sr. aren't on the same page, but Jameer Perez gave a shout out to Ted Ginn and said, hey, Ted Ginn sat me down, showed me this about Ohio State, bam, bam, bam. So shout out to Ted Ginn Sr. for getting another tar blooder to the Ohio State.
Absolutely, bro. Shout out again, senior and junior, man. I love what they got going on up there, man. And honestly, I think Ryan Day fixed that, right, over the last couple of years. I think he did have an issue with that, and they wouldn't have sent kids here. But I think Ryan Day fixed it. So kudos to Ryan Day for that, because you can't be losing pipelines like that in your own state. You know what I mean? And especially not when with all the talent that's coming up through Ohio right now. I know a lot of kids are transferring and leaving out of Ohio because there's no NIL here. That's going to be a whole nother issue to come up with, or to come up soon. So,
yeah.
But hey, on Jameer Perez, Mike, that interview was kind of sad, bro. Like I hate to say that. Like I hate to use the word sad. I don't know if we talked about this last week on the show, but like he was taking blame, but also at the same time, I guess maybe this is not even true, but I'm gonna assume it is because Larry's old. He was taking blame for like kind of mishaps that Larry actually had. He's like, well, I thought because he didn't contact me that much that he didn't really want me to come there. And he's like, come to find out that was my fault. I just didn't realize that he was busy. But it's like, okay, so that kid's also going off of what he's seeing. So he's clearly being contacted more by other coaches, or he wouldn't have that opinion. If every single coach was contacting him the exact same amount, he wouldn't feel that way, right? He wouldn't think like Florida's messing with him either. So I don't know. I feel like they convinced him that it was all on him. But what was really probably happening is Ohio State was like, look, you need to get in shape. If you don't get in shape, then we're not going to be giving you the love or the attention that we would give someone that we want to come here. But if you can get in shape, then you're the exact body type that we need now, because now we're moving from Jim Knowles to Matt Patricia, which I know is one of our subjects here. But now we're moving to the point where we're moving to the scheme, I should say, where we want to have some of those real big dudes in the middle, because we might do some 3-down stuff and have some guys coming off the edge and whatnot. So I mean,
exactly.
I'm glad he's in the class, bro. Like a kid like that, like they don't make that body type here in Ohio very often.
Yeah.
Especially not with how he can move.
Big facts, man. So you got KJ Ford commits Friday the 11th. He has Florida, Texas A&M, and OSU in his top 3, man. Terry, talk to us about it.
This is like kind of the one that Ohio State needs to get now, because they went so far down their board. I don't even think we had this kid offered, but maybe like a month or 2 months ago or something like that. I could be wrong about that. So if that's not true, but I could have swore that we had his teammate offered, Landon Barnes, and then we offered him late. But either way, dude, this is one that Ohio State kind of needs. Like we don't really have an edge unless you want to talk about Kerry Wilder or Kari, however you say his name. Sorry if I said that wrong, but maybe he'll be an edge, but there's also a chance he might not be. We need a true edge in this class. I'm watching his film. I mean, he doesn't like jump off the film at you to where he's like, okay, this guy's a bona fide star. But also, like, not every kid does in high school. And when you get someone with the athletic frame that he has, maybe they can do something with it. So it's kind of a must get for Ohio State. The last thing I seen, just like, because I don't have any info on this recruitment other than it's like what the big time media puts out there. Last thing I seen is that like Florida was leading, but in recruiting now it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's going to be whatever happens in the last hour will be where the kid goes. So I'm interested to watch it though, for sure.
Yeah, I was looking up Mrs. Womack's tweet, but I think she deleted her tweet. I'm not sure. Talking about the Womack recruitment, you know, we trying to get there, but you have Ohio State in the mix. You got Auburn in the mix, Texas A&M in the mix, and what else? Florida. So you have those 4 schools in the mix. But she put out a tweet, I believe, yesterday that was saying, you know, if you go to a job and you know that there's a certain rate for your job, right? And you go to 4 different job interviews. Are you going to take the one that offers you the lowest amount that's up under what, you know, your base salary is? And I've seen the tweets about people saying entry-level jobs and stuff like that. But I don't believe that he is an entry-level type of prospect. He's a prospect that you're expecting to get on the field in the first 2 years and be a contributor. So I'm sorry, the entry-level comment, it's not hitting for me. I'm sorry. This is a must-get, a guy who I feel could be a Buckeye and wants to be a Buckeye, but I think that NIL money needs to be on the level playing field of who he is. We're saying that this guy is supposed to be coming in to replace Caleb Downs. So if that's what it's supposed to be, then that's what the hell it's supposed to be. Pay him like that.
Hey, I agree 100%. And to me, bro, this one's a must get because it's a must get because Ohio State's been in the lead. Pretty much everybody has felt like Ohio State was in the lead with this recruitment the whole time. And for them to be in the lead with this recruitment and kind of win the recruitment and then late in the cycle not make it happen after like the way that this recruiting class has gone and like the amount of momentum that they have right now, I feel like it would be terrible. Because especially if you end up like losing somebody later in the class, like a flip or something, that always can happen. I just think this one, they need to get him, bro. He wants to be a Buckeye. Everything I've heard or seen said that this kid wants to be a Buckeye and play for Ohio State. Like, go out there and close that deal. Don't be that team. Like, maybe you're not the team that offers him the highest, but don't be the team that's like, hey, man, like, look, we're going to offer you the lowest, and that's the best that we can do. Like, no, we can't do that, bro. We need to be in this recruitment, and we need to be in it competitively, NIL-wise, and get him here. I mean, I seen the question posed yesterday, Mike, is would you take not getting Womack if we could get a 5-star edge? What do you think about that?
Dang, I don't like that.
I don't like the question either. And honestly, I think the answer for me might be no. I think I would rather have Womack because I think that every single class has maybe 2 or 3 players that are like ultra elite players. And they're not always going to be at the same position. You're not always going to have an elite edge, an elite, linebacker, an elite blah, 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 blah. But I think Womack is one of those. And honestly, from like looking at the edges that Ohio State was in on, I don't see that with those guys. Like that ultra, like this is going to be a bona fide, like it's Caleb Downs, like first round pick, Jeremiah Smith. Like there's only a couple players that are even similar to that level in each class. And I think Womack could be that. I don't think that any of the edges that Ohio State was in on are that type of player.
Like that's like what that comment got me thinking about, right? Is we saw the development from Larry in the Jalen Holmes, the Tyquan Lewis, Sam Hubbard of the world, like we've seen it. It has to be something else. He just doesn't know how to develop. I mean, because we've seen even players go back, NFL players go back to work out with him. So, I mean, it has to be something else, and it got to be the scheme or something. So, I think we're going to find out.
He's also old. He's also old, man.
Yeah,
I think he's going to retire.
Old, but I mean, what? I mean, he was already in his 60s when he was doing it, regardless.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
I mean,
hey, can I address this comment, Mike? Can I address this comment real quick? Because
Which comment?
I knew that this was gonna come, and I'm not trying to sound like a hater, bro. That's where I'm at. Like, Maze Madman says you didn't feel that way about Carter Meadows, and look, I don't want to sound salty because Michigan got Carter Meadows. I think that Carter Meadows has the frame where he can put on the weight and become a really good player. What I'm worried about is he puts on that weight and he loses a step because he does have a lot of weight that he needs to put on. He's very thin, right? If he puts on that weight and he loses a step, then you're looking at like a Zach Harrison situation. I made the comparison to him that I felt like he reminded me of Zach Harrison from that played for Ohio State. He was a 5-star edge, ended up being a 3rd-round pick, but that's also not the type of player I'm talking about. And honestly, Zach Harrison was a good player. And Carter Meadows can obviously be better than Zach Harrison. I'm not saying that he won't be. I'm not trying to be a hater. I know that any of these kids, especially the ones that are like 5 stars athletically, they can turn out to be superstars. And honestly, in Michigan's scheme, he probably will be that because they have a phenomenal scheme that they use with their defensive line. But I don't think that he's that type of player. Like the level that I'm talking about, I don't think that anybody could look me in my eyes and tell me like, yeah, bro, I think that Carter Meadows is that Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith level player coming in and like he's a bona fide 1st-round pick. I don't think that about him. I simply don't. And maybe I'm hating, but
yeah, he said that he didn't mean that as a question. He meant it more. I mean, he meant it as a question, not making a statement. Basically was asking like,
oh no, I knew he was asking. That's why I wanted to respond.
okay.
Yeah. I didn't think you was trying to talk trash, Maze man. I wanted to respond to you, or Madman, my bad. I wanted to respond to you because I seen that question and I knew that was the one that could get me in some trouble because I'm looking like I'm being a hater because he went to Michigan instead of Ohio State. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to be a hater when a kid goes to Michigan instead of Ohio State. But I genuinely felt that way about him, even when I watched him when I thought he was coming to Ohio State.
All right. Well, we got some housekeeping to take care of. Let's go ahead and get into that housekeeping that we got to take care of. Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the Voice of College Football. See what our partner, Win Agency, has to say about his partnership experience with us on the screen. Let's discuss how you can also reach your target market. Contact us at sponsorships@vocfb.com. Again, that is sponsorships@vocfb.com today.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact. Just like whatever link you use right now, no difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
All right, we are back with our Buckeyes Against the World segment, man. And we are here to talk Jim Knowles versus Matt Patricia, man, because that is the biggest thing. You have some Buckeye fans are worried about how is this defense going to be under Matt Patricia. People believe that this defense is going to take, a lot of people on the outside believe this defense is going to take a massive hit. And you have some people who believe that this defense can possibly be better than last year's. With Jim Knowles, they say the best college football defensive coordinator.
Oh yeah, this conversation is about to be good with this Penn State sports talk in here. They're about to be mad at me, but hey, let us know in the comments what you guys think about Jim Knowles and Matt Patricia. I know that obviously there's nobody to know 100% what Matt Patricia's defense is going to look like, but I think we can all make assumptions on that. What do you guys think Ohio State's defense? What do you think is going to be the differences, or is it going to be better or worse? Let me know what you guys think in the comments before we move on here. And Mike, I want to hear from you first, bro, because You already know if I start talking about Jim Knowles, I'm going on a rant. So
No,
I
you
want to
go.
hear
You
from
go
you.
first, man. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm one of the people Mike was talking about when he said, I think that Ohio State's defense is going to be better with Matt Patricia than it was with Jim Knowles. And when I say better, people just have to understand what I'm talking about. Like me personally, I don't care if Ohio State gives up yards and a couple points when we're playing against I mean any of the just bad teams that we have on our schedule. Teams that we're not in any danger of losing to. I could care less if you keep the starters in, if you're up 45 to 10 and you put the backups in and the backups give up 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns, whatever. I don't care about that. What I care about is the big games. I want my defense to show up and be dominant. Obviously, Ohio State's defense did that last year in the playoffs. I wholeheartedly believe that the defense that was running the playoffs is not Jim Knowles' defense. I think that Ryan Day, Tim Walton, and even Matt Guerrieri put that game plan together, and that is what Ohio State ran with. Jim Knowles called it, sure, but I think that what Jim Knowles wanted to do at Ohio State was a little bit too like controlling of the players. He wants to tell every single player what they need to do on every single play, or have them reading too much. We've heard even the Ohio State players say like Jim Knowles' defense is very complicated to learn. There's a lot of checks and things that you have to read. I don't know. Overall, I'm not going to ramble too much about this. I've already talked about all this on our previous shows. You guys can watch it. I just think that with Matt Patricia, I think the defense is going to be better, and I think that our defense is going to be allowed to create superstars now, which is something me and Mike been talking about. Listen, Mike, I'm going on a rant here. I need you to step in and start talking because I don't want to talk for 5 minutes straight, bro. But
I mean, you basically kind of hit on a lot of things. Yeah, and what I wanted to do, I'm not going to put this on screen because it was a lot, but there was something. Dang, is this it? Okay, so this was something that I thought was pretty funny, or not. Well, it was funny to me, but I thought it was kind of insightful, right? It was basically a source, I guess, talked to 247, and they said our conversation was with the NFL source that has an interest in Ohio State. We thought you liked this portion. I'm still not sold on those, our source said. Too many big games prior to the playoff run where his defense failed, and the vets during the run made the difference. Also, I know Day got involved after the Oregon game. At the time, I kept saying I couldn't understand how Day could be okay with what they did defensively. They didn't make the QB uncomfortable. Quinn Ewers probably wishes Day left the defense alone. There's a certain highlight of Ewers feeling uncomfortable. And dang, that's part's cut off. So I mean, basically,
point, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you got the gist of what I'm saying, and that was the thing, right? How many big games did we see Ohio State? They were up. You go back to the Georgia game in 2022. Ohio State's up. That's the defense that Jim Knowles wanted to run. That's his scheme that he brought in, right? Now, if you go back and you look at Oklahoma State and how his defenses get better and all of that is, the defense actually takes a step back. Defense's first year install is normally not that good. In Ohio State, we were probably number one in giving up explosives on the defensive side of the ball in 2022. Now, we did have some areas where our players were able to make up but we had a lot of issues where they just couldn't. Another thing with Jim Knowles is I felt like he couldn't call plays to players' strengths, right? You have a guy like Lathan Ransom who's a safety on an island and matched up against the fastest receiver on the team in the biggest game. Why?
People just can't act like all those other games didn't happen because the playoff run happened.
Yeah,
just imagine, right? What would people's opinion be of Jim Knowles after the Michigan game this year? What would your opinion? Like my opinion of Jim Knowles was like, I want this dude out of my program. Maybe I'm wrong. I understand that Ohio State didn't lose because of Jim Knowles in that game, but we had already lost a game in the season where Oregon was dominated our defense. Right after that, Nick Saban came out and said, "What the hell are they doing at Ohio State? This defensive line strategy is trash. This can't happen." Then the next week after that, Ohio State plays Nebraska, and you can see more of Jim Knowles stuff in the defense then. We're running the jack position a couple times. If Ohio State fans, if you guys don't remember it, go back and watch that game. They were running the jack position in that game a couple times, not every single time, but Ohio State was getting gashed and honestly could have lost that game if Dylan Raiola didn't just mess it up outright, just mess it up and just overthrow guys who were wide open downfield. Like, I think that what happened is the Oregon game happened, Nick Saban happened, the Nebraska game happened, and I think after that, Ryan Day stepped in and he was like, "Okay, we're done." And I'm just speculating. So you don't have to believe me. I'm not asking anybody to believe me because it's just my opinion and what I think. I think that the relationship with Ryan Day and Jim Knowles was already sour. Like way before the playoff run happened, all that stuff. I think that relationship was sour. I think that Ryan Day didn't really care for that Jim Knowles left. I don't know, man. I don't believe that. I watched a lot of Jim Knowles' defense before he came to Ohio State and everything he did at Ohio State. And what we did in that playoff run was not like any of it.
Yeah.
It was not like any of it.
Here's the thing, because I see everybody is like putting stuff in the comment. He shut us down, Oregon and Texas. Okay, Penn State. You guys don't even have a wide receivers. You didn't have no wide receivers last year. So I'm just going to say y'all didn't even count or whatever. Also, it was you guys were after the Oregon game. He shut Oregon down after he got exploited against Oregon. This is exactly what the thing that I read off was. It was after Ryan. A lot of people, I don't know if y'all just think Ryan Day just was like, he sat back, didn't do anything, and just let Jim be Jim. But no, this is not what happened. Ryan Day said, "Hey, we got to implement certain things. We got to do some stunts. We got to do some twists.
Exactly.
We got to do this. We got to do that."
Let me say this too.
Hold on, Terry. What a lot of people don't understand is you had a lot of people want to say it was Jim Knowles and Larry Johnson going at it. No, what I think you had guys like James Laurinaitis in there or whatever sitting here saying, "Hey, why are we using some little NFL concepts? You got these NFL coaches like James Laurinaitis and a Tim Walton or whatever. These guys got experience, and we're being vanilla." It made no sense when you got guys on the staff that have NFL experience. Tim Walton has been a defensive coordinator in the NFL as well. It made no sense of the things that we were doing. You got Ryan Day also, who has been in the NFL, maybe not as a coordinator, definitely not as a defensive coordinator, but also if you're going to be an offensive mind or the genius that we believe Ryan Day is on the offensive play calling, you got to understand defense, right? So,
yep.
I mean,
I agree.
I think that Ryan Day needs to get his credit. And here's the thing. Just because we're talking this way about Jim Knowles doesn't mean that we don't respect him for even getting our defense back to the standard of what it was from the 2020 and the 2021 year. We got mad respect for him for that. We appreciate it. Was it still to Ohio State standards?
No, and that's the thing, Mike. That's the thing. Like, if your defense is being ran by somebody who doesn't know how to run a defense, and your defense is not sound, and they're not like going in the right positions, and your defensive coordinator is not just making sure that there's like no major holes in your defense, or so your defense is just trash, right? Which is what Ohio State was. Like, I see in the comments people are talking about like 2020 and 2021.
We spoke on that.
I know our defensive coordinators were terrible, and
in
I know that Jim Knowles is better than that.
He got let go before Big Ten play even started.
Right, exactly, and like our defense was terrible. That's fine. Jim Knowles made our defense a lot better, but every single big game that we played up until the playoffs, really, I guess you could say the Michigan game, but like. I don't know, man. The Michigan's offense was garbage, bro. Like, I don't know. I mean, they the defense played decent, but like they still were able to drive the ball late in the game to win it. And that was what it was like always with Jim Knowles. Our defense was never out there winning a big game for us. It was out there losing a big game for us and putting our offense in a position where we needed to go out there and score late in the game to win. And I mean, they didn't get it done, not every time, obviously, but all I'm trying to say about Jim Knowles, bro, and I respect him for the fact that Jim Knowles is a really good defensive coordinator, and he is going to make it to where your defense does not have holes. And if somebody's going to beat you, they're going to beat you by their player being better than your player. What Jim Knowles is not going to do is help your player out when their player is better than your player. And you're going to see a situation like Denzel Burke against Oregon, where Denzel Burke was put in one-on-one situations with no pass rush at all. The pass rush was not getting home, and he was in one-on-one with no help. He was getting cooked a little bit, but I mean, most corners are going to get cooked if you put them in that situation. If we're just being honest, like if you know football, you know that most corners are not about to guard receivers for 4 seconds one-on-one with no help at all.
Dylan Gabriel had most of his issues, and you saw it in the second game when we played Oregon.
Hey, and I'm going to keep that same energy.
When he wasn't,
I've always had the same energy about Jim Knowles. Not one time have I changed.
Yeah, when Dylan Gabriel wasn't comfortable or whatever, you could see his whole gameplay change. And that's the thing. I'm going to keep the same energy as well, Terry, because I don't feel like I'm being disrespectful to Jim Knowles. I mean, I sat here.
I get a little disrespectful.
I gave him respect. Congratulations for what he did or whatever. But I think that is fair. It's not like this man was perfect. Like, y'all really want to act like Jim Knowles was perfect? He was not perfect. I'm sitting here talking and telling you guys or whatever. You're up. Hold on, Terry. You up by 2 damn scores or whatever, and you putting guys on the island and you going in man instead of going zone. Come on, man. Like, it's so many things that Jim Knowles has done that you're just like, oh, what are you doing? The whole team up north game plan. Everybody would ask me, in 2023, go back. You can go back and watch me talking about it all season. How do you beat that team up north? I said we need to run the 2022 game plan. The reason why I said that was because in 2022 or whatever, I felt like it wasn't even the run game that beat us. If you look at the stats, go ahead if you want to look at the stats and bring up the stats. But in the beginning of that game, when the game was getting out, they were beating us in the passing game. And our DBs like Cam Brown was trash, Cam Martinez, all of them guys, bro, they were getting beat. So then you got these guys up, and then they started running the ball. Our defense is on the field all the time, and they get tired. So boom, what happened? You hit them gashes. But before you hit them gashes, they were only averaging 1.2 yards. So, I mean, my thing is if I can see this as what they call a couch coach or whatever, I felt like our DBs got better in 2023. I felt like our DBs got better. Ain't no point in me bringing up 2024 because that was all on Ryan Day. But in 2023, I saw a way different adjustment. You also putting Tommy out there. He hurt like crap. And you got a Cody Simon out there as well. Just a lot of the game calling was terrible. And like Terry's biggest issue was you can't get off the field. You couldn't get off the field again in the biggest game of our season. So
listen, the big thing with it, Mike, is if you're not factoring in the playoff run at Ohio State, like you can talk to me about number 1 defense all you want. Ohio State is really known for keeping their starters in late in the game and blowouts. Of course, you're going to have the number 1 defense if that's what you're trying to do. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm a Jim Knowles hater, but I have been the whole time because I watched our defense lose us so many games. Every big-time game we had, bro, every game that I was looking forward to in a season, we would lose it, and our defense would just do some just absolute terrible stuff. Like, it's like literally just stupid shit. Like, we're putting, like you said, we're putting the wrong people on islands. We're putting people on islands with no pass rush. In the playoffs, Ohio State did none of that. But if you want to give Jim Knowles credit for that, by all means, you do that, and you feel like that's what's going to happen with him at Penn State in his future career. But I don't believe that, bro. I think that was Ryan Day. I think that was Matt Guerrieri, James Laurinaitis, Tim Walton. I think that those guys implemented all that stuff. And I don't think that that's what Jim Knowles wants to do with his defense. I don't think that's what he will do with it going forward. So we'll see.
I'll tell you this, Penn State Sports Talk. If go back and watch Jim Knowles' interviews when he would say, my defense is set up to give up explosives. My defense is set up to give up explosives. If that's what you want to hear in your press conferences, be my guest. If y'all lose by some explosives, I'm coming for you and I'm on your top. Trust that. Believe that. But Terry, you got anything else for the people?
Just one response to the Penn State fan in the chat. Sonny Styles was a true freshman, 17-year-old before Jim Knowles came here. I mean, I guess if you want to say that, you forgetting that Jim Knowles was here for 3 years. It wasn't just 1 year. Sonny Styles did have his best year last year, but also, like I said, he enrolled early and he was a 17-year-old and he was playing in the. Actually, was he a true freshman against Georgia?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he wasn't even here before Jim Knowles, bro. You're just saying stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind, because that was Jim Knowles' first year when we played Georgia in the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah. Folks
That's
just
all,
tripping.
man.
That's all it is, man. We appreciate you all. Make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. We are here with you every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern time. Make sure you check us out. And then make sure you check our guys out at Ohio State Prime Time. They are live every Thursday. No, what's that? Yeah, Monday and Thursday or whatever. I think it's a call-in show. So make sure y'all check them out tomorrow. I believe they are at 7 o'clock. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. Check us out. And if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. And then if you do, stay subscribed. We appreciate you all. And with that, we are out.
Hit the like button, man.
World famous Ohio State Buckeyes.
We might be in a situation where we have a superstar coach on our hands, kind of like how we did with Brian Hartline.
So right from the jump, make sure they understand they're playing somebody different tonight. They're playing the Buckeyes. They're playing the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Being a Buckeye, there's nothing better, bro.